Hey everybody, it's Paulette. I'm a part of Brownstone Worldwide, Brownstone Living Magazine, and also CityScape Radio. And when I say it like that with the two Brownstone Worldwides, I'm talking about brownstoneworldwide.com. Well, I'm here today to talk to you about something that we believe you need to know about. Now, a couple of reasons why I'm here today is to talk about the opportunity to advertise with Brownstone Worldwide. Why is this important? Because we need you to know that there are multiple ways to get your story, your brand, your service, your products to multitudes of people in many different ways. Let's talk about that just a little bit, shall we? Well, the first thing that we want to talk about is what radio is. Radio is literally one of the oldest forms of communication that has been used around the world for, since the beginning of the 20th century and even before. So we've used advertising and all kinds of mediums to literally get the word out to dozens of people, thousands of people, millions of people over the years. Radio used to be the television of the home. It was where everybody sat around and did all of their knitting. And after dinner, they would get the pipe ready for dad. And the kids would sit around and they would listen to television shows. And there would be entire rooms full of people making the sounds so that you could use your imagination to see what they were creating for you. And so in the middle of that, there were people that were working at companies that would create the advertising for you to listen to. And those people would actually pay to be a part of that because they knew who their listeners were. Their listeners were 9 times out of 10 housewives. Folks who worked during the day really didn't pay attention to much of radio at the time, but in the evening, the entire family got involved. And that's where more companies started taking advantage of radio. Fast forward, and radio is still a very, very, very popular medium, and it's only taken on a different form of its own. Some in the form of just regular radio, some digital radio, and some podcasting, but it's all still radio, and that's the good thing. So now you can listen to radio wherever you go, be it on Spotify or Pandora or Alexa or your regular radio station. Now your regular radio station has its own app. You can listen to it while you're streaming at work, all of the things. And you can even take it with you while you're working out on your phone or while you're driving in your smart cars. So many different ways to keep in touch with your regular radio stations, right? Now, here are some things, a couple things you need to know, couple things. You ready? There will always be advertising. We know that because we're all on social media, and we recognize that there will always be advertising because that's how bills get paid. Let's talk about that, shall we? So when you're on social media, you might run into an ad along the way, and it might be something that you discovered that you have been looking at several weeks in advance, or maybe even the same day, and it popped up on your timeline. Well, now, most social media platforms, if not all, actually have the opportunity to hone in on what you have told them that you would like to see more of. And that's based on your searches. It might be based on a conversation that you had or a text message that you sent. And you can actually turn those things off if you like. But that's not the reason for this particular call today. This particular call is about using all of the things when it comes to advertising. And why is that important? Because there are still people who listen to radio. There are still people who have an opportunity to read through some really good news for the day. And they may be doing that on a website of their choice. And not only that, they may also be listening to audio of all kinds. In addition to the fact that they're probably flipping through a magazine at someone's doctor's office, or even having things delivered directly to their email box in the form of a digital magazine or even a print magazine if they choose. What does that mean? That this type of media has only expanded. It's grown. And it's an awesome opportunity for you as a business owner to take a look at your overall budget and say, I would like to allocate some of those advertising dollars to this particular medium. Why is that important? Because you want to make sure that you're getting your reach wherever your audience is, right? Now, that could mean that you're doing some kind of research and you're finding out that your audience is this group of people or your audience is that group of people, and you can absolutely segment down. Okay. Here's what I'm going to tell you about what we do, who we are. We are Brownstone Worldwide, and our audience are urban professionals of all races. We've actually done some numbers recently and discovered that we have a very large male community, actually 65%. And the other is, of course, female or has not been identified. Okay. We also know this. We also know that we're reaching approximately 22 to 23,000 readers, subscribers, viewers, and listeners every single month. That is exciting. So we're actually up about 22%, and we're continuing to grow. So that's a good thing. But here's something else that I know is that CityScapeRadio.com, we also have Brownstone Living Magazine, and we have BrownstoneWorldwide.com, all offer some type of advertising. And the great thing is we can literally hone in and explain what time folks are literally listening in to the radio station. That's exciting. Here's what I can tell you. And it's blown me away over the past couple of weeks. It's gone from 6A to 10A. So from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m., there's a trickle of folks that are actually listening in. And that's good because that's when the day shift actually airs, right? So we would probably have maybe between 300 to 400 people who are listening in within a 15-minute radius of time. And then another 15 minutes will come, and then there'll be a couple of, extra 100 people. And then around maybe 10 a.m. in the morning, then we get that increase of folks that are starting to listen in. And they actually continue to listen in until 9 p.m. Now, that doesn't mean that they stop listening altogether because we are 24 hours and we're digital as well. So that means that we have a global audience as well. And that's good, especially when you're trying to reach people who may not have access to, for whatever reason, to social media at all. So this is a good way to reach those folks, especially if that's what your goal is to become global or to be global. And so this is a good thing. Now, what's different about what we offer here? Not much really, except the fact that we are offering an opportunity right now for folks to get in while it's still fresh, it's still new, and our prices are comparable. So you can actually advertise on brownstoneworldwide.com. You can advertise on Brownstone Living or in Brownstone Living, the magazine itself. We have the front page. We have the inside front page. We got 1-page and 2-page ads. We've got quarter-page ads, half-page ads. We also have business listings, the size of business cards. We have the back cover and we have the inside back cover. Yeah, we got you covered. And as the magazine continues to grow in its readership and its subscribers, those rates are going to jump. And so you're probably saying, well, Paulette, how do I know what your rates are? Well, that's easy. All you have to do is give our office a call. But what I am going to do is talk about CityScape Radio. Why? Because I think it's important for us to focus on one thing, one medium. And here's what I know. CityScape Radio runs 24/7, 365. And so that means that you get an opportunity for your particular advertisement to be heard at least 5 to 10 times a day, depending on what package that you purchase. Okay, that's exciting news. So let's talk about why it's important for people to even consider radio. And one of the things that I remember hearing when I first entered radio, and I was trained early to remember this. First of all, there are a couple of things that we know. There is something called TOMA, or top of mind awareness. And the only way that you can get to top of mind awareness is the repetitive listening or hearing or seeing or motion of something until it becomes a part of who you are, until it becomes so habitual to you that you can literally rattle it off. Just like you might recognize the O'Reilly song just from hearing it so much. And you probably have never even been to O'Reilly's, but because you've heard it so much in your cars and at work or wherever you may not have paid to have the advertising turned off, you'll probably hear that and several other very popular advertisements that don't change. They just continue to get played. And how do they get played? somebody is actually paying for them to be played all over the country on several different stations. Not to mention, we all know that they 9 times out of 10 have a budget for all of their social media platforms, for websites to be placed wherever they need to be placed, and everything in between. Not to mention, they're probably doing sponsorships in local areas, depending on if it's a locally owned franchise or if it's part of the big dog itself. Okay. Now, that's just one of the ways that advertisers can use advertising. But 9 times out of 10, they have allocated dollar figures to each leg of advertising so that they can reach their audience, those folks who want to fix their cars, those folks who are DIYers, and those who want to be the shade tree mechanic, and those who don't want to spend a whole ton of cash to get their AC fixed. Those are the people who are utilizing and listening literally to the radio station. They're utilizing their radio stations, and they're listening, and at the same time that is being placed in their ear, and you can hear it. Oh, O'Reilly's, right? Auto parts, ow, right? You can tell I've been in radio a long time. But what I'm saying is when you're playing it long enough, one of the things that you're going to do when you need it is you very well may stop at an O'Reilly's along the way because it's familiar to you. It's like McDonald's. McDonald's has their advertising. They know those golden arches. No matter what happens, you're going to stop. We know that Chick-fil-A has the same thing, but their premise is a little bit different. We know Zaxby's. We know all of these different advertisers have ways of reaching their people over and over and over. And you could tell that this kind of thing excites me. Okay. This is like where I thrive, is the creation and the idea of developing out a campaign for a client. And that's what we do at Brownstone Worldwide. Well, whatever do you mean by that? Well, a couple of things that we actually do. We support you in your video editing and your outtakes and your shorts for your reels. Okay. We actually do that for our podcasters who are a part of CityScape Radio. But that doesn't just stop there. We can actually support you in editing and breaking out your own that you send to us. That's a part of advertising as well. And here's something else. Your 30-second commercial spot that we could potentially produce for you, write for you, can be used on your reels and with your shorts. That's pretty cool too. And here's something else. Let's talk about this just a little bit because we definitely need to go down this rabbit hole. What about AI? Why can't I just make AI? Because there's nothing like a voice like this instead of a voice like this trying to be me. Of course, there are many ways to sound exactly like me. There's AI that's out there. But you want to make sure that whomever does your advertising, they've got your best interest at heart, they know the product, they've done their research, and they're reaching back out to you to make sure that what you get with that final production and that final mix down is something that you can utilize eventually, hopefully, for a very long time. If not, you'll need to go back to the drawing board every time you have a new campaign. And I always encourage customers to have more than one commercial spot, potentially a 15-second commercial spot, possibly a 30-second, and maybe a 45 or a 60-second. Here's the reason why. Because your shorts and your reels can actually be used in addition to the voiceover that is going to be created for you by CityScape Radio or whomever you choose, right? And the good thing is you can continue to use them, especially if it's evergreen material that is about you, the business, which is something else that I encourage as well. Unless, of course, we're getting into maybe Q4, where we're talking about holidays and Black Friday and those kinds of things. And you want to make sure that you are providing yourself an opportunity to get ahead of the game of getting all your production done. And maybe you don't want to do it, and you want someone like Brownstone Worldwide to do it for you. We've got you covered. Well, what does that mean? That means that the commercials that we produce for you can be a part of CityScape Radio, or we can produce them for you, and you can do with it whatever you choose, because we're going to give you your files anyway. And it's up to you at that point. So This brings me to my final point. A couple of things. Let's talk about radio advertising and the big monster in the room. Well, radio advertising doesn't work. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. But there is a rule to it that's a little bit different than regular social media that so many people are interested in. People are scrollers now. They're going to scroll, they're going to get to what they want, and then you're going to be gently reminded. Well, radio does the exact same thing. It does the exact same thing. It takes your product or your service and it puts it in front of your potential clients and customers repeatedly throughout the day, as many times as you so desire, just like you would with Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. You get the idea, right? It's the same thing. It's the same premise. What hours do you want it to air? Well, we can program that too. If you want it to air only during the morning show with me, we can program it to do that too. You want it to run 25 times in a day? It can be programmed to do that as well. You want it to run 7 times a week, seven days out of the weeks or whatever, 24 hours a day? That can be done too. It would just be boring to hear you over and over again, right? But know this, it can be done. So let's talk about this. Radio doesn't work. Oh, it works, but you got to give it time. Just like you got to give your regular social media posts time as well. What does that mean? You have to have creative copy. You can't just read from a script and say, okay, here you go. Here's your 30-second commercial spot. Or, oh, here you go. Here's your 60-second commercial spot. And all we did was read directly from the bio on your website that you provided to us. Our job as creatives in this space of advertising and marketing is to create a feeling for your customer so that they remember you. Not once, not twice. Are you ready? Multiple times. And when I say multiple times, the average for any customer who is a regular listener to any radio station to really understand who you are as a brand, as a business that they can do business with and spend their hard-earned dollars with is 3 months. But that's about the time that most customers call and they say, this isn't working for me. I'm going to go ahead and cancel and I'm going to go ahead and do X, Y, and Z. That would be good. However, you didn't give it enough time. Top of mind literally takes 3 months. But for it to really stick and adhere, I always encourage customers to do at least 6 to 12 months. What does that mean? Well, rather than paying month by month, go ahead and work with a sales agent to work out a deal where you can get a discount if you do so many months or so many weeks of, say, for instance, 30 seconds of advertising. Which brings me to this. We've got a special right now. That special is all about advertising at a ridiculously low rate. So low that I have had people tell me you have lost your mind. But it's an introductory rate, and it's a way for you to get comfortable advertising with an ever-growing radio station that is continuing to see exponential growth month over month over month. And we're excited about that. So we're global. You can hear us anywhere. And not only that, we're willing to work with you so that you get exactly what you need again and again. And when we're done with your production, you get your files so you can do what you would like with them as well. Can't beat that. So if you want to use your files for your shorts or your reels or in social media, and you've got a way to get those things edited and produced outside of what we're going to do, by all means, it's all up to you. Here's the special. Let's break it down. Right now, we're running a special. You can get a twofer or a BOGO, buy one, get one. It's buy 1 week, get 1 week free. But wait, there's more. So buy 1 week, that's 25 30-second ads per week, and we will give you an extra week of 25 30-second ads for another week for free. That total will only be $125 for 2 whole weeks. You can't beat that with a stick. And then the other one is, if you want the 60-second commercial spot, this one gets even better. It's the exact same one, except it's $175 per week for 25 commercial spots that will air Monday through Friday during our peak times of the day. Your commercial spot will be heard. It's that simple, but it gets better. If you don't have anyone to produce your commercial spot for you, we're going to do that for free for you. Okay? We're going to create a folder for you. We're going to give you access to it. You're going to drop your stuff in there so we can work through it and produce it. It usually takes about a week and a half or so for you to get your product back. And then we start running your ad. If you need to have it back sooner than that, of course, there is an expedite fee, but it's not expensive. We don't mind working with folks either. So that means that when you start paying on it or whatever, you can continue to pay on it until you are satisfied. But here's what I will tell you. Radio works. Radio has been around a long time. Radio is a multi-billion-dollar-a-year industry still to this day. It's not going anywhere. It's only morphing and it's only changing. And it is one of the many ways that you can advertise and market your business to your listeners, your audience, your followers, and potential clients who will use your products and services in their lives. It's just as simple as that. Where do you see yourself with your business? Is it going to be just advertising in one way? Or are you going to get creative and let someone like myself and my team work directly with you to get all of your needs met? Yep, you heard it right. Because not only are we offering that 30 and that 60-second commercial spot, again, we offer reels and shorts support. We can help you with all of that. And it doesn't have to cost you an arm and a leg to do that. It can. But why? We'll get it done for you and we'll put it in your folder and we'll let you know it's there and you can go about your life. Simple as that. Easy enough, right? All right, that's my time, you guys. For now, go ahead, listen through this again. But here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and put the link to where you can literally go through this again. So first things first, you're going to go over to cityscapeads.com and you will find more information about how you can do what we do. And that's get your ads seen and heard. The second is this. I want you to understand it takes 3 months for an ad to begin to become top of mind to a listener or viewer for that matter. Okay? So what you really want to do is get 6 months. 6 months is the minimum that you should take to allow your commercial advertising to become top of mind to any local listener or global for that matter. And use radio in today's world that offer web real estate. So what do I mean? So what I mean is it's just like with CityScape Radio, it's an actual website that streams, okay? What we mean by that is that we actually have advertising space that is currently available and you can utilize that as well. We have a lot of people that actually just keep the player up because they can get the news, they can get deals and coupons throughout the day as we update, if they hit refresh, of course, right? And then they can listen in and hear what's happening around the world and in their local communities as well. We have the community bulletin board, and we also have the lunchbox, okay? So we've got tons of things for you to listen to, including great sounds that you're familiar with from the 80s, 90s, and beyond, okay? So I just wanted to bring that to your attention. Now, let's also talk about one last thing. Print and digital media are just as good. And I need you all to hear me. They work in tandem with one another. One is not better than the other. They work well together. And what we do know in radio, according to most recent statistics that were done by Radio Inc., is that, of course, radio advertising is on the uptick. So get excited about that, folks, and go back to where you need to be, and that's sitting at the drawing board or your table or your desk with your team and say, let's make sure that we put some money aside for radio advertising. All right, you guys, once again, that website is cityscapeads.com, cityscapeads.com. You guys, I'll see you around in these internet streets. If nothing else, enjoy the rest of your day. See you later.